Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Robert Phoenix broadcasting to you live, albeit a little on the late side today. I apologize for that. I was doing a reading that kind of went over, but was actually a really, really good experience. And I've been preparing for today's show. So it's taken me a little bit more time. And some of you might be in a position where you can actually see this and join in. So I'm doing a little bit later. Just want to check in just to see how the audio level is. I keep trying to come back to these headphones since I paid so much money for them. How's the volume? Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me? Tommy, can you hear me? Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer, I still need to reach out to you. I apologize. Been super busy. But I do need to reach out to you. Want to? Can you guys hear me okay? Just let me get a quick yes or no from the Peanut Gallery, also known as Chatlandia. Jay or Franksman, great level, very clear today. Excellent. All right. Good to know. So I am wearing my director's hat today. Yes, a little high, a little too high. All right, let's bring it down a little bit. Jennifer would know about these things. She's a professional. Give me a second. How's this? How are we doing there? Volume is good. Volume is good. Okay. All right. Is that Dawn? Hey, what's happening, Dawn? What's going on? Nice to see you. So I'm wearing this hat today. This is my director's hat. At least I think it's my director's hat because we're going to get into commercials today and dissecting commercials and breaking down commercials is one of my favorite pastimes. I love it because to me, commercials, although a lot of people think they're senseless and useless drivel and they turn the volume down, for me, we can get a sense as to where we are collectively, theoretically, and where things are being driven, meaning that we can begin to see the future through commercials, because I do believe that commercials are trafficking what's called predictive programming. And what they're doing, what commercials do, is they set up a future reality that theoretically is sculpting the so-called current reality and current time so that people can cohere or conform to the images that they see vis-a-vis commercials, whether they're aware of it or not. So that ultimately, when something happens in the future that resembles an idea or a meme or a trope that's been presented in a commercial, it begins to feel natural. Commercials are the tabula rasa of social engineering, in my estimation. Another big component of social engineering, obviously, is news and propaganda. And then another kind of theme of social engineering happens to be music and movies, but commercials are ubiquitous. And the DVR has helped eliminate their presence to some degree. But if you don't use a DVR, you're going to get commercials. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a number of commercials that represent themes that I've been talking about for a while. Hey, Shari, what's going on? So why don't we get the party started? Now, one of the things that you're going to see consistently with the commercials that I'm going to show you are, well, you're going to see essentially this movement towards this idea of family. Oh, look who's here. He's gotten out of the bed. He and Jasper and Rosie have been on the bed together all morning. I've got one of those fuzzy blankets, that cats love to sink their claws in and go. So Jasper has heard the call. Jasper, you want to say hi to everybody? You want to say hi to your fans, your adoring fans? Somebody should make a commercial with Jasper. That's what I think. Anyway, so some of the themes that we're going to be looking at with the commercials are themes that operate around family. Now, I've been noticing that there is a significant kind of push over the last few months to have commercials that sell the family story. Astrologically, that really fits into the true note in Cancer. So here's where you get into this, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is the astrological energy determining the commercial output and what we're seeing? Or do people who understand commercials and understand symbolism and understand astrology create commercials that are going to cohere and be resonant with certain astrological energies, ideas, and forces? It's a really interesting topic of conversation. I think it's probably a little bit of both, because once somebody figures out that, well, this is how we're going to structure these commercials, and they're going to have a family theme to them, then I think there are only about 4 or 5 advertising agencies that make commercials, major ones. Okay. I think there are about 4, Young and Rubicam and a couple of others, right? So there's also this sort of incestuous relationship with the people that create commercials. And there are dominant themes. The family theme is a dominant theme, as you'll see. That's number one. Number two, we're also going to see the evaporation of the male in commercials. And I have a few examples of that. The male, and I also have examples of males in a very different kind of way, and not a very flattering way, by the way. So we're seeing the evaporation or the disintegration of the male. We're seeing the rise of commercials where families have girls, females, right? I mean, and I'll probably do a part 2 coming up. So it's about replacing the male in our society, and I'll show you. So that's another theme, of course, and we're beginning to see more and more commercials that celebrate mixed marriages, mixed relationships, and what they call interraciality. And I have one commercial in particular which typifies this idea of the golden race, which I've been talking about for a while, which is the outcome of a much larger and longer social engineering program, which is to create a race of people that have no historical context, no historical memory. And as a result of this, they're much more easily crafted, sculpted, and led. So I'll get into some of that as well. There are also themes of female dominance, which I'm going to illustrate and show throughout this, and also humiliation, usually at the hands of men, obviously. Women don't get humiliated anymore in commercials, which is fine. But I don't think men should be humiliated either. And I certainly don't think cats should be humiliated. They have to have their own sense of integrity and dignity as well. They probably have a lot more than men, to be honest with you, at this point in time. So why don't we jump right into this? And let me clear a few windows out. It's always kind of tricky for me when I was when I get in here and start to click some windows around, and Jasper likes to get in the way of things. Give me a second here. And some of these commercials have really catchy songs too. That's the other thing. Really catchy. All right. Which is, of course, why they're there, why they're in the commercial. Okay, so where do I want to start? I want to start here. This is Jasper. All right, this is a commercial that is a combination What we're seeing now also with commercials is where a couple of different entities are co-branding in the commercial space, and Amazon is a real driver around this. And we'll see some of this with Amazon. This particular commercial happens to deal with a redhead. Imagine that, because redheads are also continuing to play this very unusual theme. It's almost as if the redhead is replacing the blonde, but there's also this unusual resonance with redheads in Tartaria. And I'm still trying to understand this link. It's almost like there's this triggering of this genetic memory around this species, which is beginning to reemerge in some ways, just as this idea of Tartaria is beginning to reemerge. So I'm going to play the first commercial here, and this is a commercial that has to do with Bose headphones and Alexa. And I'm not going to have the volume up on these because I could probably get hit with a copyright strike. So I'm going to narrate over them. And a lot of the examples here, they're pretty straightforward, so you don't even really have to listen to what's being said. So let me do a little share screen here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I just want to set the stage. In a number of commercials, I'm also seeing that people are taking public transportation much more frequently, and they're kind of selling public transportation as this really cool thing. You don't have to worry about where you're going. You can, check out, jack in. I've even seen a commercial where somebody is doing some day trading on their phone while they're on a subway. So this is not by happenstance or chance. Again, this gets into the predictive programming model. And the predictive programming model is to get people used to taking public transportation. Now, obviously, there are a number of car commercials that are still in effect, and I'm going to be playing you a car commercial as well. So cars are not going away because they still have to sell them. However, they're setting the stage for what's coming. And what's coming is the Agenda 21 and the Agenda 2030 model of the city, which is going to be driven by public transportation and walking. So this sets the stage here. And what do we see? Well, we see front and center our redheaded giant. He's not really a giant, but he's redheaded, beamed all the way back from Tartaria to wander the streets of the 21st century. And of course, oh, look, she's wearing her beret. I didn't make the connection there. See, it's predictively programming. I saw this. I said, I got to go get my beret, right? So, but at least mine is backwards. But you can see that they're getting ready to jack into their media. They've just gotten off of the subway, and an adventure awaits our young man ahead. So let's start to play this. So he says, Alexa, play me some music. He's jamming to the music. Alexa, what do I have today? So he says, you have a haircut at 4:00. Okay, so this is what's happening. Now, I want you to take a look at the street that he's on. He's like, okay, cool, yeah. Okay, stop it right here. Let me go back just a second. There's no traffic on this street. None whatsoever. It almost looks like it's maybe a movie set or something along those lines, right? There's no traffic. Everybody's walking, and it's so cool and so groovy. So there's also the theme of twinning in this film, with this commercial, which you'll see. Twinning, Gemini, the doppelganger, which is very reflective of, as you know, what I talk about, which is Gemini as kind of this touch point for this polarity, this duality, which happens to, kind of notch into a certain version of alchemy, resolving the masculine and the feminine and all that, all the dualistic kind of magic that takes place in this sort of Gemini frame set. So of course what he's going to see initially is his reflection. So he sees himself, right? So this is kind of the ultimate sort of objectification, or the object of this twin relationship, his reflected self. Now what happens, now remember, he's going to get a haircut, because Alexa says, you've got a haircut today at 2:00. And so he's actually tapping into Alexa as a part of his brain. This is wearable tech. So Alexa is creating the soundtrack. Alexa is his day planner. And it's through Alexa and through these Bose headphones that experiences come to him. So what does he see? Because there's somebody on the other side of the mirror, right? You see he's in the mirror here wearing this shirt, but at the exact same time, there's somebody on the other side of the mirror. And let's watch what happens. And look, well, let's go back just for a second. Move this down a little bit. Come on. See what happens here? He goes from here to here. It's like a magic trick, right? He goes through this hall of mirrors, and then he sees his future self with the haircut. Wearing the exact same shirt, right? Exact same shirt. So he sees his future self. This is about predictive programming. This is where he's headed. Right here. Interesting, right? But obviously a different person. But there are no mistakes. So he's synced up here, 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 here. And now we have the sync, right? It's synced up like a time code. And we have the sync between he and his future self, personified by this person. Now we have another version of twinning coming up here. We have the twin girls, right? Of course, we can't have a commercial now unless we feature our dear African-American so-called Black family and friends. It's just the way it is. And so, of course, and then the hair is highlighted, right? We have some interesting little symbols inside the hair. We got a star, we got a bird, we got a sun, and they're just having a great time. Purple is also a theme that shows up in commercials as well, and we know why. We're in the midst of the purple revolution. So it's another personification of the twins. And we're going to go to another frame set here, and boom. We have more twin personification. We have this guy with the Mo haircut from the Three Stooges, doing some bonsai clipping of a tree that is twinning his own hairstyle. So this whole twin theme is very prevalent inside of this commercial, but it's all about hair. It's hair, it's twins, it's synchronicity. So let's keep going here. And he's like, oh, wow, isn't that cool? And now we have another, it's the first car we see, by the way, and it's a convertible, and we have a cool Asian dude with cool long-haired dog. It's a little weird, little weird, but it's okay. So the dog and the guy, they're out there, they're flowing free, and the hair is just, blowing in the wind. And again, it's this twin motif. He keeps seeing these twins, these doppelgangers. It's all related to hair, some related directly to who he is, the cutting piece, cute little twin piece. And then what he says, which is interesting, as he asks Alexa, how do I get shiny hair? So Alexa, which is the other mind now that's attached to his mind, says, well, if you apply finishing oils to your head, you will get shiny hair. Let's just play the rest of the commercial out. And that's where he asks the question, right? It's beautiful up here. And then we have very interesting image where it's almost like there's a god in the sky, right? And the god in the sky is this representation of this new haircut. And you can almost see the headphone, covering the head, right? It's beautiful up here. And this God is looking down upon this redheaded kid. It's almost like this cloud is transmitting this image directly to him. All these experiences are being translated by the cloud. And what is the cloud? Well, the cloud is essentially a reality that captures all this data, right? Everything that we do is being captured by the cloud. And who's one of the drivers behind the cloud? It's Amazon, which you're going to see. So the cloud becomes this deity. It becomes this God, which is the repository of all this knowledge. So what is the message again? It's beautiful up here. And can you see this? It's almost cat-like in some ways. So if you're not paying attention to these commercials, they're just going to sort of, float on by. But there is a distinct message inside of these commercials. And this commercial is, number one, get ready for a world without cars. Number two, walking around is going to be a cool, magical experience. Number three, when you plug Alexa in, Alexa is going to tap you into this almost Philip K. Dick-like reality where you're going to see reflections of who you are, footprints that are essentially leading you from one experience to another throughout your day. And that it's all being driven in some ways by the god of the cloud, right? Atlas, Cloud Atlas. It's beautiful up here. So I found this commercial to be very interesting. And of course, we have the redhead as well, which we've been talking about for a while now. It's beautiful. It's beautiful in the cloud. His head is in the clouds. He doesn't have any real interaction. He's not listening to the sounds of the street. He's listening to that funky, groovy tune, which I'm not going to play you. But trust me, it's a funky, groovy tune. And once you hear it, you can't get it out of your head. It is a freaking earworm, okay? So in the future, in Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 land, life is really good. It is an alternate reality, which is also connected to this idea of the doppelganger and the twin. Okay, it's a very, very different version of the world we're living in now, obviously, fraught with tension, stress. This is not a stressful commercial at all. This is like put on your headphones, tap into the cloud. Alexa is your muse, and she will lead you through your daily life in a way that is filled with grace. Okay, so that's commercial number one, and it sets us up for the next series of commercials, both of which will be Amazon commercials where they're talking about the cloud and they're talking about what they're doing is they're creating these. I'm going to show you three of these commercials, and they're creating scenarios, little vignettes, little stories, and they're driven by children. And they're driven by children and their curiosity, family settings as well. This is important to remember because they're selling through the family meme now. And this is kind of interesting because if you look at these morons in the Congress who are driving this impeachment thing, they're really tapping into things like the Constitution and the framers and all these ideas, which are very Cancerian. Remember, this is a Cancerian country. Okay, so this Cancerian theme is showing up in commercials as well. It's kind of ubiquitous right now, and it's being exploited, by the way. All right, so let's get to the next commercial. All right, let me see if I can find it. What do we have here? What do we find here? Okay, let's start with, let's see. Let me see, where is it? There's this one. Let me see. What else do we have here? All right, let's do this one. This is one of the State Farm commercials. No, we're gonna do State Farm. This is an Alexa. This is an Amazon commercial. All right, so let me set the stage on this. So this commercial features an African American Black family, and they're together and they're hanging out, and it's very, again, the vibe is very nurturing. It's very family oriented. You're going to see this kid who is sort of the focal point of the commercial. But what's odd about this kid is that you can't really tell what sex he is. Like, is he a boy? Is he a girl? It's really hard to determine. Kind of leaning into boy a little bit. And he's also, and again, I'm just going to point these differences out. His skin tone is a little bit lighter than his siblings. So he's kind of moving into this area of, this interraciality, which is very big in commercials now. They're doing all kinds of stories on Forbes and Wall Street Journal and all that stuff about sort of this new market of interraciality in commercials. Again, I'm noticing a trend. That's all. All right, so let me cue it up here. And the idea with these commercials through Amazon is to also feature businesses that Amazon has deals with. All right, so here we go. And let me do a little screen share. And again, I'm not going to play the volume because I want to be able to have this be seen by people, right? Okay, so it starts off with this young gal here. She's looking for food, okay, and she doesn't find any, and she says, "Can we order a pizza?" And that's where it all starts. Here we go. All right, so here we go. Now, first thing, let's back it up. So can we order a pizza? And Dad says, "I've already done it." We're assuming this is Dad, by the way. "I've already done it." So what do we have here? We have the gal who is looking around for something to eat and asks for pizza. And boy, Dad is freaking psychic. "I've already done it." He's the perfect dad. He knows exactly what his daughter needs because he's telepathic dad, psychic papa. And he shows clearly here that they got a pizza from Domino's. It is on the way. This is the first kind of co-brand that you'll see in this commercial. And he's looking at her like, "Don't you love me? I was able to intuit your mood, your needs. I'm the perfect man for you." So let's keep going here. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to see this kid. And he's got this weird thing with his eye here. He's got this, he's got dark circles under his eye. Maybe they're grandparents. I don't know. Maybe they're grandparents. He's got this dark circle under his eye. And it speaks to this kind of weird soul scalping thing that we see and have been seeing with, celebrities, politicians. And he comes this. So here you're going to see the rest of the commercial through him, but it doesn't really look like a him. So you're kind of going, okay, let's just see where this goes. And the question is, how did you do that? Right? How did you do that? Now he comes in again, and here are the gals, and very relaxed. They're playing a video game. One of them is telling her, "Oh, you've got to start to make your landing now." Okay, and he says, "How long have you been playing that?" But again, it's like, who is? I mean, what are we seeing here? Is that a boy or a girl? It's weird. But this is why this kid is in this video, because you're not just, even a boy who shows up is very hard to determine whether he's a boy or not. It's real. Again, this is all intentional. He doesn't come rolling in like, yo, is your black ass still playing that damn video game? That doesn't happen here, right? He's very shy, very timid. Are you still playing that game? Okay. Now he's going to be a distraction. She's relaxed. She's doing her nails. Again, look at the place. It is so homey. Oh my God. But there are hints here of magic, right? Look at the fireplace. These are almost like they're almost like deities over the fireplace. And of course, we have the mirror, which is the portal, and it's reflective, right? We have the deities. We see the deities here. It's almost like Yoruba or something like that. And of course, over here at the peak of the gabled roof, what do we have? We have something that looks very sort of tribal, slightly magical. So we have hints of magic here inside of this very nice Cancerian sort of den. So she's on her Bose headphones, right? So here comes the co-brand, and she's doing her nails, and this kid is trying to distract her, trying to get under, which is, what brothers do. He's going la, 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 la. Verbo, which apparently is some kind of, I don't know, B&B place, or they rent places out. So this is not their home. They're renting this out. And then he's got this backpack on, and I guess it's Grandpa. How did you find this place? Right? This is what he's saying. How did you find such a cool place? And it's another, again, kind of magical treehouse sort of environment, right? And you got the bridge, and you've got the rope bridge. And my God, don't you just want to be there? This kind of cool place. And then here Amazon comes in, and AWS, which is the cloud. And now they get to, bring in their sponsors, right? Verbo, Bose, Epic Games, and then Domino's. So what we saw in that commercial, just to, round it off, is we saw the family theme. It's a very big theme here. The family theme. What we also saw was this young boy who doesn't really look like a boy. He looks kind of intersexual. And he's got that weird kind of soul scalping effect at the beginning of the commercial. Then we have, I think it's a grandfather, him being able to intuit the needs. Like he's so into that moment and so into her that he knows to order a pizza even before she says it, right? The perfect man. This is idyllic. And Amazon is creating these commercials now, which have this kind of idyllic kind of vibe to them, like that city street with the redheaded kid. That's kind of idyllic, right? It's kind of utopianistic. And that's another version of, kind of a utopia. It's one you rent on Verbo, but a utopia nonetheless. Okay, let me play you another Amazon commercial. I have 3 of them, and 2 I have queued up. Okay. My titles are funny. So, same deal, right? This is the same deal, and it's through the eyes of a child. And the children are very curious, and they ask questions. So here we go. Let's roll it. Oh, you know what? I did do the screen share. My bad. Let me do the screen share. My bad. Ski. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So it starts off here in a garage, and some kids are jamming, and they're using Fender Play. All right. So apparently it's a program that allows you to learn how to do scales and chords. It's great. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's our, again, it's always through the eyes of a child. She happens to be Asian, and apparently they live in Kansas City, as you'll see. And how do they do that? How do they do that? And again, keep an eye on the neighborhood. The garage is open. There are kids outside. They're playing. They're on their scooters. It's family. It's home. It's the neighborhood. And it's kind of idyllic, right? They're tapping into this sense of nostalgia where there was kind of more coherence in a lot of ways. So now she has her friend who looks like she could have been in the last commercial, right? And again, what we're seeing is this version of interraciality, which is whatever. I'm not judging it. I'm just noticing it because this is what's being produced and it's being pushed. And I believe it's a form of predictive programming. This gets into the whole notion, dialogue narrative of the reset, which I've talked about. So her friend is smiling. Obviously, they're checking out the boys in the bands. But look what's going on in the background. People on the streets, they're playing. It's kind of interesting and warm. There's a gal, I guess, here, right? And they move on to the next scene. Come on, let's go by. Okay. So now here she is with her mom. And they're doing, a sleep out indoors. Because you can see that it's in the living room. And they've got the tent set up. And here's mom. And she's wearing her little PJs. And she's got her, little light on her head. And they're watching a movie together. Right. And again, it's a very specific movie. What did we see in the last commercial? We saw that family living in, temporarily in a very primal setting. They're in a tree house. It's kind of magical, primal, shades of the planet Pandora, right? So we're seeing, again, tapping into this primal innocence. Netflix, Watch Our Planet. It's this young orangutan who's staring back at her. And she asks her mom, how do you find the best movies to watch? Okay. Boom. Now we have Adidas. And they're outside. Again, it's mom together. She's got looks like the image of roller skates. Again, we have the twinning, right? You'll see this in commercials. We have the white shoe here. We have the white shoes here. They're doing this subliminally, so you'll notice this. You'll pay attention. She has her little smoothie, and they're looking at the shoes and asking, how do they do that? How do they do that? So again, this is going to be a co-brand for Adidas, but we can see this image of the white shoes here and here. They don't choose these jackets by happenstance. They're trying to drive and anchor the image home. Okay. White shoes, by the way, represent purity. White is pure. Snow, pure driven snow, virginal. We all know the associations with white. And the feet represent the signs of Aquarius on the ankles and Pisces on the soles. So when we see white shoes, what are we talking about? We're talking about the purity of the soul. Like this kid is pure. She's untouched. So we're going to fast forward now. How do they do that? Now she's riding around her house. And I'm getting the sense here, this is a single mom. Because you're only seeing her with her mom. But it's still family oriented. And mom is riding her exercycle and getting props from her virtual trainer. And like Kansas City, Congratulations on your 100th ride. And of course, they're going to be pushing this at the end of the commercial. And the girl's got her own version of the cycle. Do you see how this works? Again, we're watching the Gemini effect or twinning in action. Mom's on the cycle, she's on the cycle. Mom's lying down, she's on top of mom. We have the monkey, primal innocence, staring back at primal innocence. We have the two skates that are white. We have the Adidas that are white. There's the twin effect going on here. And it's like, how do you do that? It's always about how, curiosity. How do you do that? And now she's at a tailgate party, which is obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. What's interesting is the letter G here. Now we know that G is connected to the goal line, but G is also the letter that is inside of Freemasonry. It's the letter that we see inside the Freemasonic symbol. There's a number of potential definitions of G, the great architect, right? Who's the other? Gosser, right? Gosser from whatchamacallit, who are you going to call it? Ghostbusters. Is also, I believe, connected with Freemasonry, believe it or not. So we have the G here. It's very prominent, setting us up for this connection with, here's the 20-yard line, right? So this would be the red zone. 20 being the year 2020 that we're headed towards as well. The year of the Aeon, judgment. Okay, so here we go. 19 here. Again, this is all very specific, right? 19 being the year that we're in, 20, which is where we're headed. Okay, here we go. So she's at the tailgate. He tosses her the ball. Oh, what's his number? His number is 01. This is not a number you see, by the way, in sports. It's not 01. It's 1. Right? So we have 01, Mr. 01, which is essentially digital, right? Zeros and ones. And all this is about Amazon and the cloud. The zeros and the ones are the language of the cloud and the digital transmission. Because this is not a number you see. There's no 01 guy. This is about binary code. And so he's telling her, in some ways, this is how we do it. It's all binary code. Reality's a matrix. Here we go. Tosses her the ball. She catches it. And again, it's like, how do they do that? How do they do that? Now, what's interesting is that this is the Seahawks game. And we know that Amazon is based out of Seattle. So it's the Seahawks versus the Chiefs. And then, of course, we have Mr. Number 19 over here, right? There he is, Mr. Number 19. And this looks like, in some ways, the young woman who started off the commercial, right? Like an older version. Like she is the older version of her. So we start off here, right, at the beginning, and then we come into the end of the commercial where we see the future self here, or the time twin, right here. Catch that? And she's all about, how do they do that? How do they do that? There we go. How do they do that stuff? Now we get to see the partners, right? NFL, Peloton, Adidas, Netflix, Fender. So we saw the Fender thing at the beginning, all product placement stuff. These commercials are genius, by the way. Total genius, because they know what they're doing. They know exactly there's so many like twin anchors. There are time twin anchors in there. They're telling you the story about how they do it with the 0 and the 1 right here, right? So I'll show you how we do it. right there. The 0 and the 1 guy. Okay, so there's one more of the Amazon variety that I wanted to play, but I don't know if I have it on my my desktop. I may have to go in and just find it. Give me a second here, because it really rounds off the trinity of these commercials. Let me just see. Okay, I'm going to have to go in. Give me 1 second. It won't take very long. I'll just have to export this thing. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Let's do this quick export. I hope you guys are enjoying this, because you can really get to see the engineering, both commercial and social engineering, that goes into the commercials. By the way, I heard the word social engineering used 2 days ago on a sports talk show, but it was used in this context of how people can find your identity online, and unlock all your passwords and shit like that. Apparently, that's now social engineering, that they're able to socially engineer or engineer into your social networks to find out who you are. So they're redefining the definition of social engineering. It's very interesting. Okay, so let me see if I can find this. Give me 1 second. Here it is. Okay. So this is, again, a very similar Amazon related. It's an Amazon commercial, excuse me. So the themes are going to be very prevalent. And you'll see, again, time twins. You'll see the redhead also in play. Different redhead, by the way, but a redhead nonetheless. All right, here we go. So let me set the stage. This guy shows up and picks up the girls. Now, I think that this guy is probably either the dad who is divorced, or it's a stepdad. It's mom's new guy, because mom shows up here. And you're going to see these two gals, right? We have the red and the blue duality again. And they're going to be kind of the centerpiece of this commercial, with little girl asking the questions. Very curious. Here we go. Says, "What up, girls?" So he gets lift. They're in a lift. They're not even driving now. This gal is driving them. How do they know that? Right? She's absolutely adorable. Right? How do they know that? This is the Lyft driver. So he's on a. They're on there, and here's the redhead in the back. How do they know where to go? That sort of a thing. Now they go to the museum, and here's good dad. Right? And now she finds out that this is her great grandmother. Oh, that happens every day. That shit happens every day. We have the number 44 right here in the background. Again, doubling twins, right? 22 times 2. We have the red plane, and we have the red head. And here's mom, and this is her grandma. How do we know? How did you know? It's like, how did you find out she's my great grandma? Because of course this happens every day. Going to an exhibit where she gets to see her, her great grand. And remember that these are girls; they're not boys. This is a theme. What did we see with the last commercial? It was a girl. And when we saw a boy with the previous commercial, we weren't even sure it was a boy. We think it was a boy. Okay, let's continue. How did they know that? Okay. How did they know that I like sprinkles donuts? What do we have here? Well, we have another girl, right? And not a guy giving her the donut. It's a girl. She's sporting that nerd look. And I would venture to say that she's probably interracial, but a different version of interraciality. My 2 cents. Okay. How do they know that I like sprinkles on my donuts? Now here they are again, and they're just having a fine old time. They're on the couch. Here's mom, here's sis, and they get to play with these apps, right? Oh, there they go. It's all very homey. Look, even when they're out at a store, it's like the store's their fucking home. Everything's their home. The world is your home. Doesn't matter. The world is your home. Remember that. That's an Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 theme where you own nothing. Nothing in the world is your home. Right? They're just having a fine old day. So now we get to, how do they do that? Oh, look, speaking of home, they have a new home. Again, this very Cancerian theme, right? And now this is how they're topping their day. What a day it is. Starts off with lift, goes to the museum. She gets to see her great-grandmother again, ancestral feminine line. She has the psychic donut moment. They get to hang out in the store, which is in many ways the precursor of their new home. And now we have the new home. It's foreshadowing their new home. And she says, "Hi, how did you find such a great home?" So here we go. Zillow. Let me go back here. Whoops. Go here. Zillow is how you found the homes. There's Snapchat. There's Dunkin' Donuts and Ancestry.com and Lyft, right? And you can see how, from a linear perspective, that the other sponsors of the previous commercial show up. They were the ones that were part of the previous commercial. So those are 4 Amazon-related commercials where they're bringing in like co-branding, co-marketing, and they're tapping into this whole family zeitgeist where there's really no boys in a lot of ways. All right, I've got more. Let me just check in with you guys and see where you are with all this. We shift the reality we've been trying to get away from. We're facing our small daily goals as accountability partners. Great content today. Simulacrums abound. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna get into the next commercials. All right. I talked about this commercial I think yesterday or the day before, and it is the Shea Butter commercial. I'm going to get into some stuff around men now in commercials. So let me find this thing. Oh, let me do this. Let me do this one first. This is also reflective of the family theme that we're seeing a lot of in commercials. Again, this is a contemporary commercial, meaning that it's clearly seasonal. So you won't be seeing this commercial, 5 or 6 months from now. And I'll set the stage for you. This is a Stella Artois commercial. And one of the things that you'll see here is in a lot of these commercials, if you do watch TV, there's a new style of shooting commercials, which is low light. Low light, dim light. They're not, but getting this light is very difficult. It is not easy. you're kind of in Stanley Kubrick territory when you shoot at this level of light. So it's not like they just show up and dim the lights. It's very sophisticated, this level of light. So what you're going to see here is obviously a family dinner. And this is dad, this is mom, and this is the son. You're actually going to see a young male in this commercial, which is rare. And the bond between a father and a son. Now, what's interesting here is, and I'm going to freeze frame this in a second as we move through this. There's the pouring of the beer. Okay. So this is his wife, partner. Let me adjust this for a second. These headphones are not very comfortable. And she's giving him this look. This dude's talking to her. But again, there's this sense of, well, what race or ethnicity is she? Is she Hispanic? Is she Middle Eastern? Is she interracial? It's kind of important here because, again, they're introducing this idea. She's not a white girl. We know that, right? But she only has eyes for him. Very fetching, very seductive. She doesn't give a shit about this dude. So he's on the way to the kitchen, not him. And now they're in the kitchen. Hey, how about having a beer with your old man? And he uses the term old man specifically. Why? Because by the end of the commercial, he's going to be an old man. Here we go. Tosses him the towel, looks back at her. It's like, sure. And he says, hey, let's bond over a Stella Artois. All right, Dad. And look up. He just got old. Look at that. He goes from here, being this guy, to get the beer. Up. I'm an old dad now. So what are we talking about? We're talking about continuity. And this is, again, gets into the true note in Cancer, because Cancer is about continuity. It's generational. It's like from one generation to the next. So what they're saying now is that this isn't a one-off event. This happens over time. It is a tradition. And it's a tradition that the men go out and do the dishes. Isn't that great? Oh, how Cancerian are those men. They're doing the dishes. And so he's going to hand over the Stella, and oh, look at that. They're together now. And he's all grown up. He's got a tie on. And she's wearing her lady in red dress. Ooh, what do I see here? There's a little bumpy there. See the little bumpy. There's going to be a little Stella Artois drinker in their future. Let's keep moving forward. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's always the same story about the uncle. And there he is. Now look at that. Oh, they're even older now. He's got a little bit of salt and pepper in his hair. Right? So this, number 3, the trend. Oh, look at Dad. He's got this look on his face like, man, how poignant is that? We've been doing this now. We've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm still wearing the same damn sweater. He wears the same sweater the whole time. It's like, doesn't the guy have, oh, I'm sorry, he's got a different sweater. He just changed sweaters. My bad. I thought he was wearing the same sweater. And there they are. Moments worth making. But even here, we've got the M, the upside down M, which is the W, and then the M again, the simulacra. Hey, at least they're dudes. But like 20 years of dishes. I mean, can't they do something else? But it's not bad. It's not a terrible commercial. But still, we're getting the programming, which is, it's okay to marry somebody, outside of your speed zone, right? Yeah. And I'm not discrediting that. If you love somebody, you love somebody, right? But there's this idea of the programming that's coming into play. So again, it's all family-based, family-themed, family-oriented. And this one is not terrible. As far as commercials go, it's probably one of the least repulsive that you'll see. Let me find you one of the most repulsive ones that you're going to see. Let me just see this here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is this is another dad commercial, but it's a very different kind of dad commercial. This is for Toyota. And this is dad creating a very different kind of memory. Here we go. Okay, so what do we see? We see dad in a suit and tie. He's suit and tie guy. And away we go. So he's in the parking lot. He turns on some music, and all of a sudden, what's going on here? Dad is going. Dad's taking that car, and he's driving that car to Drag City. Right? Ooh. Dad actually makes a better female than a male, I think, to be honest. The eyeshadow on, he's got the wig, and of course, and brothers say, well, hey, is that you? Is that you? Oh, did you see that? Oh, he's actually flirting. Look at that. He's actually flirting with him. He's got this, ooh, look at that look. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to flirt with him. Bye. Drive across town, the journey. And what does he do? And he shows up. Oh, let's go back. Let's look at the symbols here. Check out the nightclub, right? We have the masculine moving upwards. We have the feminine moving downwards. We have the third eye, the all-seeing eye inside the interpenetrating pyramid. We also have the reflection, right? The doppelganger, the two. This is the sign. Obviously, they're not in a great part of town, but it shows you who is in charge, even in this part of town. The sign is illuminated. Pulls in. Oh, there's his daughter fronting the band. And then there's dad with all the other gals, right? These are all women here. They're all fantasizing about getting with the lead singer or the bass player, his daughter. Anyway, here we go. And he's there. That's my daughter, groupies, grown-ups. So here we see the symbol again on the nightclub. You see that? You see the third eye inside of the pyramid pointing down towards the feminine principle, right? The power is being conferred onto her as she walks through that door, right? The feminine principle. And then gives dad a hug. Great set. And I don't know if she goes off with dad or not. Probably not. Dad gets to drive away. Like, see ya. Do you think she wants to be with dad? Hell no. She's going to hang out with all those women that were around dad. And they're going to be doing body shots of Patron. That's her future. Dad, he's got to go back to being, maybe he doesn't go back. Maybe it's such a transcendent moment for dad that he just stays that way from here on out. The greater than ever Corolla. Oh boy. Yes. Corolla, the vehicle of transformation and change, because that's what he goes through. He goes through a transformation from being just a straight corporate dude to taking a walk in the wild side, hanging out in the dark side of town, in a club run by the Illuminati, where his daughter is seducing the entire club. Man, you get in a Corolla and your life gets really fucking interesting. Let me tell you, your life is never going to be the same again. Never going to be the same again. All right. Let me find, I don't have it on here. Let me do this. I gotta grab this one. It's just going to take me a minute. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Take me 30 seconds just to export this thing. Bang. All right. I just have to find it. It's always an interesting challenge. Oh, that's not it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it, Janet. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. No, that's not it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. There it is. Yes. Yes. All right. Okay. All right. So this next commercial is for Old Spice. And I talked about this commercial a couple days ago. Okay. And it should be right on the desktop now. Okay. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Right here. Beautiful. Got it. Yes. Okay. So one of the things that used to happen to the so-called white male before he was erased out of commercials was that he became the cuck. You know what I'm talking about? Like the dumb dad. Everybody in the family was smarter than the dad. In a commercial, a woman was smarter than the dude. Some of that still goes on, right? But this is kind of where the so-called white guy got moved into in terms of commercials before he got moved out of commercials. So what's great now is that our African-American, so-called Black brothers, they're getting a lot of playtime in commercials. The unfortunate part of this is that now they've been moved into cuckdom. Sorry to say, right? Your reign supreme lasted just a very brief period of time because now you're the subject of cuckery. And if you have one iota of consciousness, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So it's personified and typified by this Old Spice commercial. Okay. So the idea here is that this guy loves to take a, shea butter body wash into the shower. Now, if you know anything about shea butter, it has a connection with the so-called Black African-American community with either with hair or skin. It's kind of a very big, important product in terms of moisturizing, right? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to incorporate shea butter into a body wash, getting men to use a body wash because there's a whole new marketing trend to get men to be more metrosexual than men already are. So in this commercial, the guy shows up as being difficult, histrionic, and dramatic. And the woman shows up as being more direct, more rational, and not having a lot of patience with her high maintenance guy. Here we go. And I included the dialogue here. I think I'm just going to let this one play all the way through, and we'll go back. So the setting here is that these people are affluent. And again, it's another version of home, but it's kind of this affluent version. Maybe they've got one of those horizon pools, maybe the hills of Los Angeles, but it still feels very homey in a lot of ways. So here we have the goddess of the love seat getting ready to interrogate. And remember, white is a color of purity in this instance. In general, it's purity, right? So he's wearing a white robe, which is indicating he's the innocent one in this transaction. And he acts like an innocent doof. Here we go. Watch the words. Oh, this is the one where I didn't include the words. Look at him. Look at him. He's like, what? What? He's indignant. He's totally indignant. Look here. And he's asking about this body wash thing. And she's like, what? Are you serious? What are you talking about? Look at him. Look at him. He's like, oh. And he walks away. Oh, he has this very emotional, dramatic moment around his body wash. And she's trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this dude. Watch her. Watch her. Does she roll her eyes at him? Go back. I think she does. Let's watch. Oh, no. Yes. Oh, he can't believe it. And she's like, oh, hey, you know. Now she's coming at him as the rational one. Right? She's the rational one. And he's the completely irrational one. All I wanted was a body wash. Men have skin too. There's another version of this. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find. There's another I think I downloaded 2 of these versions. Okay, so there's this one, and give me a second here. So let me run through this. Let me see if this is the one that I want. Hold on. Okay, there's that. Give me 1 second. And there's this one. Yeah, this. Let me export this one and because you get to actually see the dialogue on this one. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'll just take a moment. It's funny. I had the most difficult time with this one commercial. Not me personally, but just doing something with it. Because you'll get to see with the dialogue just how cucked this brother is. All right, here we go. Come on. And I promise after this, everything's loaded. And this is the one I for some reason, had the most difficult time with. Maybe I should pay attention to that. Okay, so let me do this. And all right, here we go. Okay, so you're going to see in this one the actual dialogue, which is just ridiculous. All right. We need to talk. What would you like to talk about? Hold on. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. Hold on. So you guys can actually kind of see what he's saying. All right. What would you like to talk about? We need to talk. What would you like to talk about? Take a guess. This is what you want to talk about right now? Really? Because you make me share everything. That's why. Okay. Do you see that? You make me share everything. He doesn't have anything that's his own, right? Nothing is his own. He's not his own person. Everything. He's saying everything. Now, maybe he's being histrionic, which is probably the case, but everything is also his thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Like he has to share everything. And look at her. She's indignant. Really? Really? The lady in red says, really? Well, you take extremely long showers getting super soft skin. What is there not to enjoy? Why are we doing this? Now, you see that? Why are we doing this? The roles have switched here. He's become the histrionic female, and she's become sort of the rational. And she says, like, he wants to have those long showers that she does. Jeez. Well, you take extremely long showers getting super soft skin. Well, she's probably taking the extremely long shower because she's having a fantasy about somebody who's slightly stronger than Mr. White velour robe guy. All right, here we go. What are we doing? Use my Old Spice moisturize with shea butter body wash. Oh, he just can't handle it. She's going to go help out. It's a dramatic overlook moment. All I wanted was to use your body wash. And all I wanted was to have a body wash. Men have skin too. Hands it over to her. It's empty. I wonder why. Passive aggressive there at the end. Right. Oh man, I got some stuff I could say about this commercial. Like a different reality or different version of this commercial. Yeah. But this is what's happening. You know, these product companies, and we saw this with Gillette, basically turning, men into women. And now we have Old Spice essentially doing the same thing. So we may not be in commercials anymore, but my black brothers, my African American brothers, you got your time in the spotlight. But now I'm afraid that you've been designated to cuck them, unfortunately. You see, it happens to everybody. Cuckdom knows no color. I'm sorry, I have to laugh there a little bit. All right. Now we're going to go deeper into that. We're going to see a so-called white guy show up in a commercial, and it's not a pretty picture at all. Now I'm going to shift a little bit. I'm going to move into some insurance commercials, and obviously State Farm. Okay, so let me get into the State Farm commercial. Let's see. Where are we? Okay. I got a couple here. Hold on. Insurance commercials are some of the most insidious, and you'll see why. All right, here we go. So I've talked about State Farm before, some of the commercials, insurance commercials before, and this one is a series of commercials with Aaron Rodgers. And what they've done here is they've taken this guy whose name is Patrick Minnis. And Patrick is an actual State Farm agent. I believe Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. So they've always got him in this pink shirt. And if you look at Patrick, he does represent this idea of interraciality. Now, one of the things that's unspoken in these commercials is that there has been this longstanding rumor that Aaron Rodgers is actually gay, and that he's had a number of girlfriends who have served the role of beard in his life, and most recently, the race car driver Danica Patrick. Now, I'm not saying that he's gay, maybe he's bi, but there's been strong rumors to that effect. His family, by the way, hates him. Can't stand him. They don't talk to him. Massive feud. It's not just one person. It's his brother who played a little bit of football, his parents. So there's a big family feud going on in the Rodgers family. So this guy, this dork over here, plays his football agent. Now, he's a complete and utter moron. And why Aaron Rodgers would have a complete and utter moron as his football agent makes absolutely no sense to me. But as a comedic foil against his insurance agent, who has his head on straight, is rational, is cool, is kind, and clearly Aaron favors him, it makes the State Farm agent more profound or more desirable than this clown. Jasper has completely taken over the upper room. Sorry, I have to move him around a little bit. So here the commercial is that they're out in Aaron Rodgers' car, and you're going to see this in not just this commercial, but you're also going to see this in another insurance commercial, which will be an Allstate commercial. And this is where they have an app. And on the app, you get to see where you're saving, you're driving and saving, right? It's supposed to be interactive, which to me is dangerous. Like, if you're an insurance company, why are you promoting this app to be on your phone on the dashboard while you're driving? Why would you do that? It seems unsafe. Now, you're going to hear, well, you won't hear it, but it's a Judas Priest song called Breaking the Law. Now, what's interesting is that, number one, it's breaking the law. And number two, Rob Halford of Judas Priest is gay, right? Openly gay, right? So there's, again, this weird kind of undercurrent and theme going on with this commercial. There's this weird kind of unstated, in some ways, kind of sexual tension going on. It's very bizarre. So I'm going to play this. Thank you, Jasper, for... All right, here we go. So what's the deal with the app? So it's right there. You get to see the app. It's right on your dashboard. And he's turning up, breaking the law, right? He's jamming. He's trying to get him above the 40-mile-per-hour speed limit. Again, the 2 4s. Aaron Rodgers shaking his head, you know, and then he's like, the guy's like indignant, right? He's like, how come you're not wild? You know, what's the alternative? The alternative is you're out of the car, motherfucker. You got kicked to the curb. I got a new agent in my life, right? He's got to go walk and take the bus. These commercials are insulting. Drive safe and save. Discount up to 30%. This thing is monitoring how you freaking drive, right? It's invasive. So what they're doing is they're introducing this invasive technology. It's like a social credit system for your driving. Oh, you cornered nicely there. You get to save. It's like Waze. It's like a video game. Oh, you accelerated. nicely there. You get to save. So by following the rules and the order of the streets and the highways of America, you get to save money. And this app is clocking you every step of the way. And it's not the only company. They all have a version of it. Progressive has a version of it. And you'll see that Allstate has a version of it as well. So now they're introducing this kind of big brother technology into your car. And at some point, by the way, it will be off your cell phone. It'll actually be built into the car. Trust me on this. It'll be built into the car. But it seems to be dangerous to have that thing up there. You're always looking, how am I doing? Oh, I just scored some more points because boom. All right, give me a second. So let me play you another State Farm commercial. Same deal, same guy, same scenario. But in this commercial, there is the introduction of a new football player, Pat Mahomes, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is, I think, where this guy Patrick Minnis is from. So maybe Patrick Minnis should really be his agent. But he's not. Pat's agent is a woman, of course. So this is where they're introducing. And so he's supposed to be Pat Mahomes's football agent too. Why Pat Mahomes would hire this blithering idiot to be his football agent makes absolutely no sense, but it's not supposed to. All you're supposed to come away with is that this guy is a moron and everybody else in his environment is way smarter than he is, way more together. All right, here we go. So your Patrick's new, what do you cover? Give me 5. So nobody wants to give up the fist bump. Aaron, his own agent, won't do it. Pat Mahomes won't do it. Nope. He's not going to do it. He goes to the gal. Sorry. Total rejection. Again. Total rejection. So I did something the other day. I looked on the board of directors for State Farm. And I found that one of the board of directors is a professor of behavior, professor of behavior and personality or some shit like that at the University of North Carolina. So I sent him an email and I told him that the commercials of his company are totally insulting. And that I'm thinking about changing my insurance based on that. So I got into the whole behavioral aspects of it too. So I don't know. He hasn't returned my email. But if I was that guy, I'd look at that email and go, wow, this guy's either got something or I'm going to report him to Department of Homeland Security, one of the two. All right. So let's play another commercial. And this is Allstate. Now, these are the Mayhem commercials, which I've talked about in the past. And there's a new player in the Mayhem commercials. And the new player is Tina Fey. Okay. Tina Fey as an individual, as an actress, as an icon, is untouchable. She's completely untouchable. Tina Fey is almost like Superman and Clark Kent combined into one individual because she's got the glasses, but it's like she's almost achieved like this almost demigoddess status. Like nothing ever happens to Tina Fey. She's always sort of walking above the fray. Fey and Frey. Yeah. And Fey, of course, being fairy. There's a really interesting episode of that Larry David show that he did on HBO where he talks about Tina Fey. And he talks about how this is just, and I'm not making this up. It's an episode. And he talks about how Tina Fey supposedly had sex with some guy, and because it was so savage, so wild, and so intense, the guy died having sex with Tina Fey. I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility. There's something about this woman, whether she's Sarah Palin or there's this air of untouchability with her. And you'll see it in this commercial. Here we go. So Chaos or Mayhem is played by the same guy, right? He's always got that the eye of Set beneath his left eye, but in this scenario, he's playing a dog. He's playing a Saint Bernard puppy in the front seat. And the mayhem that the Saint Bernard puppy can level significant, but not when Tina Fey is driving. Here we go. There he is, right? Look at him. He's licking her, and she's basically saying, here, you can even read her lips. She says, a little while ago, are you eating poop? So now he goes down here and starts to get her purse and snaps him. Right, she snaps and snaps him out of his trance. Gets his attention. And where is this going? It's going right there. You see that? It's the same deal as State Farm. It's the same deal. She's got this thing. It's mounted. It's an app. It's called DriveWise. And it's clocking how she's driving. And when she's in control, while she's focused on DriveWise, there's nothing that can touch her. Not even some third-rate actor who used to be on Oz and who has sold his soul to become a spokesperson, a spokes fetish for Allstate, can break her focus and concentration. Unfortunately, for the cuck that's driving in the car next to them, that won't be the case. Okay, see that? Let's bring it back. Who's driving the car? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's the African American black brother right there, right? And what does he have? He's got a little puggly wuggly. A little puggly wuggly dog. This is not a dog that screams machismo or alpha dominance. Nope, not at all. And so what happens here? He gets distracted, and oh no, bang, he rear ends that guy. Now, if he had that little DriveWise app, Mr. Chaos, Mr. Mayhem, Mr. St. Bernard bizarre puppy guy has no impact on him, but he doesn't. And so his little puppy dog gets distracted. So does he. What happens to him? Boom! His fault. Meanwhile, Tina Fey, untouchable. Now there's a new one. And this brings two themes together. This brings the Toyota theme together and the insurance theme together. Welcome to Cuckdom. In this version of the State Farm commercial, we have Mayhem again riding shotgun for the untouchable Tina Fey. However, he's no longer a St. Bernard. He is Tina's mother-in-law. Mayhem, I'm your mother-in-law. So he's basically the stupid shit that theoretically allowed the mother to try to get under her skin. But that's not going to happen. You know why? She's got this right there. She's got this. Patrioting pays off. He's putting lipstick on. Of course, we have the eye of Set again. And then he says something really weird here. And I should actually, I'll just play you the last minute of this, because last few seconds of this. Because what he says is very bizarre. It's like he breaks the what is it, the fifth wall? He breaks the fifth wall. I'll just play this for you, just a little bit of dialogue. I don't think I'll get shut down just for this little bit of dialogue. That's right. Okay, here we go. Listen to what he has to say. Oh, I guess he's not saying it. This is my son's favorite color. Do you see that? Let me rewind it. He looks at her and he says, "This is my son's favorite color." And he breaks this wall right here. So there are two things he's referring to. Either his son, which would be her brother-in-law, which would mean the son is, who knows, or it's his son in real life. So again, what we're talking about here, predictive programming, social engineering. So Mayhem is now in drag. Right? Mayhem is a shapeshifter, apparently, from St. Bernard to catty mother-in-law. But nothing ever phases Tina Fey. Oh, no. Cool as the other side of the pillow. Tina Fey. These commercials are totally insulting. All right, what do I have left? Another commercial. Now, this is another insurance commercial. I have two more. I have this one, and I think I have Snow Brawl after this, which is the big finale, Snow Brawl. Okay, so one of the things that companies have been doing now is that they have set themselves up, and you'll see this with commercials. So if you do watch TV, pay attention to commercials by Bank of America, Chevy, financial institutions, because they're virtue signaling. These companies now are creating commercials that are celebrating the diversity. And again, a lot of it is couched in this familial setting. It's like, we're just a big family, and these are the members of our family, and they're very diverse, and they're good people, and they have good values, and by signing up with us and putting your money in our bank, you'll get that kind of familial virtue signal dispensation as well. That's very big in commercials now. They're selling diversity of the family. Now, remember, about 6 months ago, I think it was like 185 or 183 of the Fortune 200 companies all got together, had a roundtable. These are big, big companies, huge companies, and they decided they're going to put people before profit. And I've talked about that at length. And basically what they're saying is that we're going to start to create programs. We're going to start to create narratives. We're going to start to create brands and identity that gives us a much more humanistic slant. And we're going to be selling our virtue versus selling our value. Remember that. And State Farm, again, has set up something where you do 100 acts of goodness. Okay. And in this commercial, we're seeing duality again. We're seeing a so-called African-American male being pitted against a so-called white male who can do bigger and better good. It's a competition. Here we go. So here we go. 100. So right there, let's bring it back. You can actually go online and do 100 acts of good. This whole thing feels very Masonic to me, and I think that the insurance companies are run by Freemasons. I think the insurance companies are highly Masonic. And even here, like State Farm, right? They've got the pyramid, but the pyramid that's made out of 3 eggs, 3 ovum. So it's like, oh, it's feminine, right? It's feminine. It's farmy. It's, you know, it's homey. So let's go back here. So what does he do? He gets up and he donates part of his clothing to this donate clothing bin inside the office. Okay, so he goes here, and then the app records donate clothing. He got 1 act of good. So the guy on the other side of the cube decides, I'm going to get involved. And all of a sudden, this dude over here starts choking, right? And again, because we're dealing with a model of diversity, choking guy's Asian, right? And he does the Heimlich maneuver, spits it out, and he catches it, and it's on. So save a coworker is 1. Now, I don't know what universe you live in, but if you save a coworker and this dude donates a piece of clothing, to me, that is not equal. Like saving a coworker from choking to death, you don't have to do another act of good for the whole year. That should be 100. But according to this scale, well, it's just the same as donating a piece of clothing. All for the greater good. And a teddy bear. It's like, it's on. Okay. So now they're fighting to help this woman cross the street. So Tidy Whitey helps her out, right? Obviously, they're kind of in the hood too, right? So down in the hood, is that not a stereotype or what? We're going to go into the hood and we're going to help the little old black lady cross the street. Walking Miss Daisy. Role reversal, though. And he's sitting there, he's fuming. He's fuming. But it's kind of weirdly stereotypical, right? Like, I don't think women, by and large now, want to be helped across a crosswalk. I don't think that's the case. But he's going to do it anyway. Right? Abbey Road. So what's the next scene? Well, the next scene is he finds a turtle at the beach who's just coming up. And he's helping the turtle. So there's like this kind of midwifery involved. Very feminine, right? He's like the turtle midwife. Be free. Go swim. Meanwhile, over here, the brother saves a whale. He saves a beach whale. And of course, we have the very pretty blonde interviewing him, right? And what's the message here? Oh, yeah, they're all cheering for him. What's the message here, right? His office mate saves a wee little turtle. Meanwhile, he saves a big black whale. Again, You have to parse this thing out, right? What's really funny though is that the whale actually rolls its eye, so the whale knows that the whale's in on it in a weird way. But it's the ultimate virtue signal. But and again, they're using divide and conquer. They're playing with racial identity, racial politics, duality, the Gemini effect. It's a terrible commercial all the way around. Terrible. But State Farm, the neighborhood of good. This is the new model for corporate America and the world at large. Corporations are here to do good and to dictate and demonstrate a higher morality. Okay. All right. I was going to show you the Charlize Theron commercial, but I'm going to skip that. I got one more to show you. And this one just recently made the rounds. It's called Snowbrawl. And it was shot entirely on iPhones. When you think about this, you think, oh, well, maybe a bunch of kids did. It just had some iPhones. That's not the case. This is a professional crew of movie makers, filmmakers, props people, editors that shot a scripted short movie. And I'll set the scene for you. It's on a big snowy day, and there's a big snowball fight. But it has all the elements of the modern cliche, plus predictive programming of the golden race and the coming reset. Okay, so here we go. It's actually, in a lot of ways, a pretty spectacular commercial. High production values. And of course, they want it that way because it was shot with an iPhone. All right, so let's go here. The setting, first of all, you've got a drone apparently has an iPhone attached to it, looking down on the battlefield. And the battlefield is happening in this kind of opening in the snowy terrain. Here we go. All right. So what we have here is we have an image of give me back. This image of male dominance, right? You have a young man, another young man who is kind of close to his size and stature, and then you have this guy here. So these are big boys, right? And again, what we're seeing here, this is actually quite Masonic. And I didn't notice this before, but we have the compass and the square, right? Here's the compass and here's the square coming through. So he's stepping through the compass and the square. I didn't notice that before. Can you see it though? If you were to draw a line here and a line here, right? You would have the square and here's the compass. He's coming through the gateway. All right. All right. This is his sister. And both he and his sister are really typical and symbolic of this idea of the golden race. I mean, just look at, she's got this beautiful skin tone. She has kind of, sort of blonde yet brown hair. I think she has blue or green eyes. She's absolutely stunning, this girl, right? Totally stunning. So she's not, see that? She also has a bit of kind of male energy too, obviously. But this is, and she's coming through this other gate. Now you'll notice that she's teamed up with nerds. Watch. But she's leading the charge. It's like Greta, right? She's leading the charge. Slides through, and now she's with her crew. A lot different than the other crew, right? A lot different. So, and the director has a short video of this where he actually gets into
the idea behind this. And what he says here is that in this part of the video, that he's trying to convey that she's in distress because she's being pummeled. And she winds up with the Goonies over here. And they got to figure out how they're going to mount a defense against overwhelming male energy. Here we go. The teddy bear is the prize. And there's brother, and he looks like a bit of a golden racer himself. There you go. I mean, this girl's beautiful, right? But again, what is she? You know, in the grand sense of the word, I hear the words, does it matter? Does it matter what she is? Well, of course it doesn't matter on one level, but on another level it does. If we're talking about the reset and we're talking about the introduction and the social engineering of an entirely new species or race, yes, it absolutely does matter, because this is where the predictive programming is taking us. And she's a woman as well. And she's a young woman, and she's a confident young woman, as we'll see. So this is one hell of a snowball fight, right? So now here they are, like, okay, taking cover, and they've got a plan. And here's the plan. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go get them. Yep, I'm ready. Let's high-five it. Let's go. So now they've got their chariot, and they're ready to make their assault. Slow motion, pummeling, look at that, battle cry, and off she goes. She's Captain America, she's Thor, she's Greta Thunberg, all in one. And boom, carnage. Kid kicks up the snowball, it's about to hit her. That's pretty good move there, man. A little kung fu move. Boom. Now then, she's about to be hit by another snowball. And guess what happens? Sacrifice. Boom. Spin move and right. Where's it going to be? Right here. So he's like, oh no. Big bro. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of that cartoon, Arthur the Aardvark. My kid used to watch that. He reminds me of Arthur the Aardvark. All right, here we go. And boom, he takes one. Right there. Right in the kidney. He sacrifices himself. The young male sacrifices himself for the warrior princess. And now all of a sudden, face to face with her brother. Okay, so again, we're talking Gemini, siblings, right? Face to face with her brother. And what happens? Look at this. Look at that. She's going to come down on her bro and hit him with the snowball he'll never forget. But it doesn't happen. He dodges it. And what does he do? He's like, I'm over. I'm taking the teddy bear. Game over. Oh, not yet. Not yet, big bro. Wait, she's baiting him. Now! These kids have been sitting down in that snow for the entire time. Probably getting frostbite. But hey, it's a commercial. And they get to come up. And by the way, they're sleeper cells too. That's the other thing here. They're the sleeper cells that this guy, the dominant culture, was not ready for and not prepared for. And guess what? Let the pummeling begin. But at the end of the day, it's all fun and games. And they're all together again. right? Brother, sis, and teddy bear. Again, Gemini. She helps him up. It's all Gemini. It's all good fun. It's a nice little brother-sister story. But there's more to it than that, obviously. A lot more to it than that. It's about social engineering and predictive programming, and commercials are chock full of them. And we can see again and again and again through their presentation that they're creating a tableau for a future history. And if you look hard enough with some clarity, you can see the story begin to unfold. You can see corporations becoming these so-called bastions of moral authority, encouraging people to do the right thing, to practice 100 acts of kindness, while at the same time letting you into their car so that you can follow not just the rules of law and order on the streets as you navigate them dutifully, obediently, but you'll also get a discount as well, right? It's all there. It is all there. It's all there. We can see the future that theoretically they want to create, the future that they're creating, because there has to be some social engineering involved, and the future that they want to create is the predictive programmability that people theoretically step into without even understanding why they're doing it. Very insidious. Very, very insidious. And they're using a lot of anchors now, emotional anchors, that get you hooked in. Go back to those Amazon commercials, which tend to be very family-oriented and family-driven. They're like hammering the family theme. Now, remember, next year when the nodes go into Gemini, we're going to see Gemini themes pop up everywhere. And in fact, we're seeing some of the precursors of that already. Okay, let me check in with you guys in the chat room and see where you're at. Let's see. Instead of one lie, there are lots of little statements to make you give in and not even decide. Very interesting. What else do we have here? I thought the symbol looked upside down, crucifix or Tiana's. That shape of the sacrificial lamb is the manifest man in all the symbols so far. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Even the sled looks like a Hebrew letter. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Fro style. I like Fro stylus. I like that. Kazakhstan has a statue called the Golden Man. Ooh, interesting. Really? Is that in, let's look at that. Is that in Ashtana? It's got to be. Let's see. It's got to be there. Let's check it out. Here it is, right here. That's interesting. Huh. So they're actually saying golden man or woman. The sack warrior. Here, I'll show you guys. Was brought up in the chat room. So here's an image. Wow, that is so ornate, isn't it? It's pretty cool. How'd you like to be that for Halloween? Here we go. The cradle land of the Golden Man, downtown Kazakhstan. All right, I'm out of here. Hey, thanks for being a part of today's show. It's always fun to get into these commercials and break them down, because they're, I think, completely relevant about where we are and, theoretically where they're trying to hurt us and get us moving in that direction. So if you like what you've seen here today, hey, hit the like button, subscribe, and thanks for being here. I'll be back on Sunday night for the Sunday Night Astro Live Show. A lot to talk about. I haven't done a couple of them recently, but I have a lot to talk about on Sunday night for sure. It's going to be a big deal. We're going to get into the eclipses. We're going to get into the conjunction that's coming up. So I'll talk about all that. And then next Sunday, I'm going to get into predictive models for 2020 and bust that out. So you're really going to want to watch the next couple of episodes of the Sunday Night Show. And that's here in this channel. All right. So for me and Jasper, if you're not going to be around on Sunday night, I probably won't see you until after Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, what is this? This is whose day is it? Shit. I'm having a moment now. Damn it. Tower, Babel, Nimrod. Happy Nimrod Day. Happy birth of Nimrod Day. Right? That's December 25th. It's a celebration of Nimrod as well. All right. See ya. Have a great Friday. I'll be back on Sunday night. Oh, Jasper, you want to say goodbye? Want to say goodbye to your fans? Your loving and adoring fans? Here we go. All right.